She's only 25 years old and is barely known in the London art world. But that could soon be changing for Moscow-born Nika Neelova. One of her installations is being displayed as part of a charity fundraiser alongside works by big-name artists. This is Neelova's reaction to winning a spot alongside such luminaries as Tracey and Antony Gormley.
Many of the artists who are featured in the show I've been researching since I was a student, and I read about them in books and I've seen their exhibitions. I never met them in person, of course, up to now.
The graduate of London's Slade School will be displayed in Somerset House in the centre of the capital to raise awareness about homelessness. Her untitled work features 11 black doors hanging at angles in a sinister manner from a central frame. It's eye-catching, if not a little unsettling. This is the artist talking about her latest project.
Well, it aims to create an environment which is both enclosing and excluding at the same time, something that can be constraining and somewhat protective. And it features 11 doors which are cast in concrete and a burnt wooden structure. The door that appears in the sculpture is cast from an original door borrowed from the Somerset House, and its reoccurrence in the space as a cast and as part of a sculpture just emphasizes a sense of displacement or dislocation.
The event obviously has a serious theme, though. We're talking about homelessness. Your piece, the doors, the angles, what does it say about homelessness?
Well, the door as a symbol by itself usually signifies separation or change, and according to its definition, it's a movable structure which is used to open or close off an entrance. However, here they are shown as visible from all sides, and they no longer define the space. They no longer create any boundaries, but they are lost in space, and it is the space around them that determines their disposition.
What experiences have you had in your life that have given you a kind of understanding of homelessness?
Well, I think it's impossible to have an understanding of homelessness, really, without experiencing homelessness for real. But it is an issue that one gets confronted at a very early stage because it's so present within daily life. And I think it's the awareness of it that matters most.
And how would you compare the situation for homeless people and the number of them from, for example, the UK to Russia?
Well, in Russia, it's a much graver situation, I believe, due to the many political changes that have happened since the 90s. And of course, things are done about it, but it's much harder, I believe, to solve this situation there.
It sounds that most of your artistic career has taken off in the UK. Maybe you can just give us an idea of, after this show, what is next for Nika Neelova and whether or not you're going to be taking your art back to your home city of Moscow.
I've got a few projects that I'm currently discussing and negotiating, but I have never exhibited in Moscow yet or in Russia. And that's something that I hope will happen in the nearest future.
The show is organised by the charity Crisis and will see the pieces auctioned to raise cash to help single homeless people. The group warns that economic woes and budgetary belt-tightening are seeing more people sleeping rough on the streets of the capital. I asked the head of the charity, Leslie Morphy, why she had awarded the young Russian artist the chance to display alongside her art world heroes.
I think partly is she had such an interesting idea related to homelessness, and that was one of the things that we were looking for. We wanted people to think about what it was like to be homeless, and she's taken the particular theme of space to kind of say that there's no physical or tangible boundary between having a space and having nowhere, and I think that's a very interesting concept. I haven't actually seen her piece yet, but I gather it's based on a series of doors, and it sounds extremely thoughtful and extremely interesting.
Now, the issue itself, homelessness, we are in economically hard times, the age of public spending, budget cuts. Are these factors making homelessness situation worse?
Yes, they are. In fact, just today, the figures for people who are actually sleeping rough in England have just been announced, and there's been a 23% increase in those figures from this year over last year. All the other indicators of homelessness are also going up. That includes the number of people who are going to their local authorities and asking for help, and it also includes the number of people who local authorities are actually housing.
And your event, the art event, is a fundraiser. Could you just give us an idea of how much money you hope to raise from it and explain how that's going to translate on the ground for these single homeless people that you refer to?
We would hope to raise around £450,000, and that will be through an auction at Christie's on May the 3rd. What we will use that money for is very directly to feed into the centres that we run around the country, which particularly are about trying to transform homeless people's lives. It's trying to get them out of the situation they're in to a new situation, particularly through education and through employment.
Leslie Morphy of the charity Crisis there, hoping that Neelova's Black Door installation will raise much needed money for helping the homeless.